This live stream is being
Or in the I'm gonna get back to the ASX website and see if we've.
So I am not looking to see if we are yet live streaming on. Oh, there we are. Live stream is being
all out on YouTube live.
Ta-da! I do hate the way YouTube just starts without you. There's no control over it. Zoom to YouTube is a fantastic thing, but I wish they'd give us some more controls so that.
You're lying. I think you stitched me up every time.
No, genuinely, we've been on air for all of 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, or Choddy, you are here. Al is here. Good evening, how are you? Very much welcome to this Great and Gold results show. My name's Liam, I'm your host for today, and joining me is our wine-drinking connoisseur, Stu. Stu, good evening, sir, how are you?
Good evening, sir. I'm extremely well, as we have progressed to the second leg of the semi-final.
I thought for a moment there you was about to say
results.
We've progressed to the second bottle. That's the problem with these late shows. Is there's more alcohol being consumed. What are you drinking there, Stu? Is that a late red?
It's a bit of off-license Merlot.
Just not wrong with that.
A run-of-the-mill 7 quidder, which is the second bottle of said 7 quidder. But you know what?
And how many grapes out of 5 would you rate this evening?
It's a solid 4. Solid.
Oh, that's good. It's not bad for a bottle of red. So this is crazy. It's like we've switched now to what's going to be 12 weekly shows. As Newcrest are only going to be releasing quarterly results, no interim results. Obviously, Greatland will be doing their own, or have suggested they'll be doing their own still. So it remains to be seen what happens in 6 weeks' time. Hopefully, we'll get an early morning RNS. So it's going to be interesting, really, to see how that progresses and develops. We were discussing earlier, and I was having a chat with Bamps, and I'm just waiting for people to pile into the room. So actually, before I get into the Bamps conversation, we get people logging in and saying hello. Who's here? We got Bellas, we got Josh, we got Harry, we got Nigel, we got Malcolm, we got Scotty Lad, we got Jamie. Matt's nasal hair has appeared. Matt's nasal hair. That is just one of the best YouTube names of all time,
isn't it?
And Mr. Small, gents, ladies, good evening. Welcome to our chat. There's something wrong with my microphone. Look at that. Wobbling on that. And I'm just waiting. Hey, look, I'm live. I can hear myself. So actually, before I get into the Bamps conversation, we get people logging in and saying hello. Who's here? Is that you? Is that you watching us? We've got Josh, we've got Harry, we've got Nigel, we've got Malcolm, we've got Scotty Lad, we've got Jamie, Matt's nasal hair. The Oracle is in the house. Good evening, sir. Anyway, there's a pile of people there. That'll do. And I've just heard myself speak, so I know we're still on there. Talking to Bamps, let me just find the conversation, because he said some extremely interesting things earlier that genuinely, Stu, they got me excited. I this morning when I woke up, I was like, oh, results show, doing a show tonight. That'd be fun. I've not done a show for 6 weeks. You know, I genuinely enjoy being live and broadcasting these things to the world. There's a shameless plug coming later, by the way. And he said, quote unquote, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, so sorry, Bams, if I'm not supposed to say this, but he said it'd be interesting to find out what the 3 step-out drills were targeting, because Bamps has looked at this historical drill results and was talking about what's coming up next. He's got an idea of the drills that were not released, or partial results that weren't released last time around. You can tell I've done no prep for this show. Had 153 and 155. I mean, that's just crazy to start with, isn't it? Like, we're up to 155 drill holes. We're shown drawn twice as long as the log length. So that was testing the ground. 155 looks though it's just punched through the cover, testing the dike position. 154 across the south side of the ore body was also drawn twice as long as the log length. So again, testing ground conditions maybe, but was slightly deeper, around 1,000 meters vertical depth. He then goes on to talk about 152, which follows a similar path to HAD 93A. I'm now paraphrasing. but it's about 500 metres shorter, but targeting the same pods as 152 and finishes in the higher grade Eastern Breccia pod. Now, Stu, I've been banging on about it all day. All day. 120.4 metres at 10 grams per tonne. What is there not to like about that drill hole in the Eastern Breccia? And we've only had 6 results there so far. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited does that get you going? Knowing we should get some more Eastern Breccias this evening. I think you've muted yourself, Stu. Either that or I've muted you.
There we go.
Wait, there you go. Ha-ha!
Sorry, I had done. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a had 5 type result. So personally, I think I don't expect anything near that. And as I said earlier, I'll be jumping up and down if we get anything over 50 meter width above 2 grams a ton, which is your 100 gram meter. Anything over 100 gram meters, your grams per ton times your meters is fantastic.
Well, yeah. And then you get
versus over 100 and what was it? Say it again. I mean, it was
120.4 meters at 10 grams per ton.
That must be must be in the top 5. It's over 1,000 gram meters per ton. Now, bearing in mind the benchmark is 100 for a wonderful deposit. It's a 10x. It's a 10x. It's
yeah. It's insane, and yet
those are valid because this is where I think we have our edge. This is where I think we have our advantage. The general man in the street, the university pension funds, everyone out there thinking of investing in the junior gold sector space doesn't quite understand what 1,000 gram meter intercept means in relation to the discoveries over the last 40 years.
Which
they just haven't a clue because there haven't been any. There just haven't been any, and that's where I think the share price and everything that's going on, the patience will always be rewarded. It's all a big cliche, isn't it? But it's not. It's the truth. Anything you ever read from Warren Buffett, it's a cliche until about 10 years down the line when you go, "Fuck me, he was right, wasn't he? Take profits when there's profit." Oh shit. He also says hang on to your winners, so shit. Yeah, the choice is always yours, isn't it? But I think that sort of intercept shouldn't be expected tonight, obviously. If it happens, as I say, I'll be one excited Liverpool supporter.
Someone, they've retracted it now. They left what looked like a poem, and it took me a few seconds to realise what was going on. They were talking about not being afraid of the dark and walking on, and
right, yeah,
just like
It's a fantastic poem.
I tell you what, though, to be fair, and I'm just a neutral when it comes to football. To be fair, there is nothing like the cop giving it full beans and singing that song. It makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
I love the tribute to Ronaldo. Last weekend when he lost his baby boy, the twin of his daughter, and that was class. 7th minute, everybody clapped for a whole minute, and it was a sustained minute mid-play. With shirts held out. I just thought that was class, and apparently it was organized by Liverpool supporters. I like to think it is, and that report I read was true. Who knows? But with the world going as it is, I just thought that was one of the classiest things I've watched in a long time. And of course, I'm biased. It was my team, and I love it.
So how does? And I'm just looking for something just to talk about.
Someone said to me at work, like, you must be so stoked that Everton's going down. I was like, no, not at all. I'm happy that I'm losing the derby. What are you talking about? I want Everton to stay up. I want to beat the shit out of them twice a year. Like, I don't want them to be in another league. I mean, I don't, strange mentality.
Yeah, what's that all about?
How did we get onto football? Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. I have no idea, but
apologies. I'll shut up now.
It makes a change from me waffling on about whatever I can do. BAM Sources is a northern corridor is always open to northwest. Never really been closed off. It'd be good to hear the end to get this end defined, or does it continue to Lake Havieron, and is it connected to the Zipa Apollo? What's the word? Geology, because I think if you've, and here comes bad diagrams on the camera again. If you've got this lump, right, which is our ore body, we don't know how deep it goes. So there's nothing to say that 3 kilometers down, it do you know what I mean? It continues, and it's just one big, massive ore body. I don't suspect it goes wide, but I mean, these things can be huge, can't they?
Importantly, I think it's easier to extend your stopes downwards than it is to undermine and dig laterally without sort of that second mining front. So I think Bam's comments in that visualization are great, in the sense that if we find more below the southeast crescent, it can form part of the DFS, or at least it can form part of the starter mine 0.20, where you're in the same mining infrastructure and you're mining something slightly deeper. Whereas I think, when it's lateral, it's a bit more tricky.
No, that makes sense. So thanks, Bamps, if you're watching, for our chat earlier, having something to talk about whilst and talking about Stu's love of Liverpool. Gave me a chance to get the resource estimate up, because I don't think we on this show have talked about it very much. It's possible.
No,
In fact, no. I tell you what I did. I made a complete dog's breakfast of analysing it. I'm pretty sure of that.
What's this?
I don't know, but the MRE should be on your screen now.
It is.
So just wonder if we could get your take on it.
My take?
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't ask me that.
It's got to be a good thing, right? We're up to 6.5 million ounces.
I looked over this, the MRE, a couple of times in the day it was released, and maybe once since. And it's difficult because anything you look at in a share relates back to your individual strategy. And my strategy is so super long term now. I've actually taken a big step back. I'm not the investor I was 2 years ago, where
none of us are.
The day, and I knew all the results, and I knew every satellite picture and every dot changing from the next dot. And you know what? I've just been family time and been happy with where I am, and I've been scaling back in because I took a decent chunk out, worrying about the general market. So I have to say, when GDP released this, my estimation was going to be 6 million ounces equivalent, and it was bang on thereabouts. So there wasn't really a lot of requirement for me to go any deeper, because we all know this is 10, 15, 20, 25 million ounces. We all know the brokers are 10 to 12 million ounces. We all know what's priced in, what's not priced in. And all we're waiting for now is Newcrest to confirm this plus more when they release their next resource update. What I'm interested in, because we're just before results, I'm assuming, Liam, is 5%? Yes or no? Yes or no? Tonight? Yes or no? No, me neither.
You're not giving 5% away on a. You might make a word to it, but you in terms of, because of the fact we have to see this as
negotiations are ongoing,
currently ongoing. No, I absolutely agree.
50 to 200 million, keeping a nice wide range. You're not announcing a 50 to 200 million investment in a quarterly release, are you? That's me, own opinion as a private investor, not substantiated on anything.
Yep, I agree 100% on that.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to.
It would be lovely to see a little line in there that just says, yeah, we're going to give Greyland.
I think there's a possibility of it
4 billion. I don't know.
Confirming that it's moved to arbitration, because let's address this point. As much as a positive investor I am, you are, a lot of our people on the board are, and we like to think I'm pissed off. You gave us a bunch of timescales, whether it was Newcrest, whether it was Greatland, whether it was a combination of the two, which I suspect it was. We've smashed through all of those. And it adds to all the anxiety in my mind. Is this a buyout? Or are they hashing out something that's good enough for the GGP board to put to shareholders? Is it that they want to buy 10% instead of 5%? But are we just so far? The thing is, if we're so far away, Liam, why, when you gave this time scale in an RNS, with all due respect, have you not just confirmed we've gone to arbitration?
Because I don't think we have.
Neither do I, because they would have fucking announced it.
Like, I genuinely think because of the fact, now, where did I hear this? It could have been Sean that said it himself. So, but they got to within 20% and they want to negotiate it further. There was an extension. Was that publicised? There must have been.
I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm just making it up.
What was publicised was that we were to get an answer after they had enacted their option within a time period. That's what was publicized. And from just anyone, common person in the street, it was, we're doing this, and we all went, shit, shock, horror, bastards, right move if you're an NCM shareholder. And then the time frame passed. It passed a bit more. Now we're 2 months past that time frame. The very specific things in that RNS, I'm not going to go over all of it. As I say, I've been taking a bit of a break and not being as involved in the detail of late. So please don't jump on me if I've got something slightly wrong. But
Look at that.
It was very clear in my mind that this is the time period we have. We'll either agree or it goes to arbitration. And if I'm not mistaken, we're about 2 months past that time period.
We are. No, I want to know where I heard it.
What's going on? Have we gone? Have we not? To me, the only reason to delay a confirmation, which is market sensitive, hey guys, we've gone to arbitration for the next 8 months or whatever it is that there's something more than the 5% going on. My mind always goes to the buyout. It always goes to the, are we just quite purely being bullied and they've just not given us an answer?
I know. I genuinely think it's the fact that they just work so slow. They're in a completely different time zone to the rest of the world.
No. They announced and we announced, I'm pretty sure, a time frame. You can't announce a time frame.
No. I understand that. I agree with you completely. But I think because of the fact that they're almost there, like one guy, they're making some figures up now. One said 500 million. The other said, well, actually, I was thinking more of 600 million. And it's because I can't remember where the hell I heard this now. And I can't hear if it was Chinese whispers or an RNS or what. But I'm pretty sure, maybe I even dreamt it.
Difference as agreed originally. And we all went, will they, won't they, could they? And then in the last update, when they said, no, we haven't quite reached an agreement, they went, it will accept a 20% difference and didn't amend the time frame. And is that where we're missing a trick here? Was that them saying, right, we've reached the time frame and passed it. We're now telling you that actually we're going to agree to go on for the rest of the year and see if we can get within 20%.
But at least it's not going to arbitration.
I kind of want it to.
Just to show its family. There's nothing. No, I'm
a long-term investor, so somebody just jumping in or somebody 60%, 70% underwater, like my in-laws. They're probably not so sure on arbitration, but I think we might get a better outcome.
It's interesting. I was having a conversation. I have loads of conversations. My DMs are crazy, but I was having a conversation. Actually, it was in the not valid. What's the word I'm looking for? The members chat, where verified. That's the word. Verified members chat with Ben. And no, we are all so much more mature than we were 2 years ago. Because I've brought everyone at the moment is just sat looking at Havieron, the satellite. I've not looked at this thing genuinely since the last time we was on air. The comparison, I've not done it. I'm not even looking at it. And
it's been a while actually since we've done that. I mean, I'm just looking at it now as you do it and thinking.
So ARV is still going. Look, there's people there.
There's all the things I've followed for 7 years.
Yeah, I just don't check it. I'm not bothered. I'll have a look when GGP start their drillings in Scallywag or wherever they end up putting their drills. But there's just.
But I think also we've all got to be honest with ourselves. It's a different investment.
Oh, yeah. It's
You know, if you want to be playing the exploration game, you're in. I
you're in
won't
the
even,
wrong share.
I won't even name them, but we've got lots of neighbors, and there's lots of other people who release 3 RNSs a week, and the share price never moves. You know, there's lots of those you can jump into, but we're in a very different place from when we were all involved in this, even just 2.5 years ago. And
We're acting like a grown-up share. We don't have the grown-up share price yet,
I think that's it.
but we're acting like a grown-up share. No change in the share price, just
We have totally opposing views on the Lassonde curve. And
yes.
I'm interested in your opposing view, and I'm not going to put you on the spot if you don't want to talk about it.
It's fine. I don't mind. I love the fact we can have this
I'm interested
conversation
in why you don't think it applies.
purely because when you look at the chart, the things that made it when you look at the Lassonde curve, there's a period of growth where the share price goes up exponentially into that exploration phase before it then drops down. We got to about 15p, and then the GDXJ took over. And that drove the share price up to 27p. And then very soon after that, yes, there was a slight retracement. The scallywag hype pushed it up to 37p.
It was sort of 21 to 23 range after GDXJ, which is still, as far as the chart goes, a perfect trajectory other than the GDXJ spike for the chart. It got up to 15p from, let's remember, 1.
Yeah,
So,
no, absolutely.
15 to 23 was the move. The 27 spike was just screwing all of us, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than anyone who managed to put in a fill and kill at 27. You need a couple, and well done to you.
Thank you very much, the guys on the chat that said it was Sean that said that. I really appreciate that. I couldn't decide if I'd heard it, made it up, read it somewhere, or got three bottles of wine in stew, and he said it. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. So going back to the Lassonde curve, it then obviously went all the way up. Scally pushed it up, from 27 to 37.
Do you
Havieron didn't do that,
remember
did
a
it?
poster that came onto the LSE chat, and you will have because you were on LSE with me at that time, by the name of Green Fool? Do you remember it?
Yes. Didn't we rip the piss out of him on LSE?
Everybody did. Hydro
Didn't he,
leading charge, right?
the Canary Waffer?
Yeah, and do you remember what he said?
I don't know. I was too busy ripping the piss out of him. John says BlackRock moved it to 33p, because that's the other thing. There was like an 80 million buy from BlackRock, I think. That also pushed it up, and then they went and sold a bunch of it because of the bloody lot in America doing their GameStop nonsense, and made everyone need their millions of dollars back.
See, I think you've got to remember the investor journey, and I know, like, much as I love people like John and people that rally our troops and strive to believe in GGP, those fortunately are probably people who are going to stay here for 5 years and are going to see the benefits, but they also unfortunately hurt people in the short term who are looking for their riches in 3 to 6 months. And I remember Greenfield so vividly, and you know why, Liam? And it's a good lesson for us all, I think, because I remember being pissed off with him. I remember reading his posts and being like, fuck, you're clever, and I don't know why I can't rebuff you, and it annoys me. But I knew he was wrong. He was wrong. I just didn't quite have the intellect or the information to be able to go, this is why you're wrong. But then, because I didn't, I started thinking, don't be naive. Don't necessarily listen to what he's saying, but interrogate what he's saying. And I started going back through his old posts when he was vilified on the LSE board as a insider, shorter, all the things that you get called if you have a negative opinion. And I kind of flipped, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to pretend he's a friend. And and he's been investing a long time, and I'm going to view through that lens what he's saying. And there was only one very clear topic that he was repeating, and it was that after the MRE is announced, we'll crash. That was quite clearly what he was trying to get at through all of his posts. After the maiden resource is announced, the speculation phase will end. And at that stage, I was already, aware of the Lassonde curve, and I was watching old Pierre Lassonde interviews, and it drove me to looking further into this, and it actually made up my mind that I was going to sell my stake, 90% at least of it, not my daughters or the people that are here forever, but my stake in my ISA. I was going to sell that and my pension stake after the MRE. He made up my mind. I believed him. There was a 75% probability that we'd drop after the MRE rather than increase after it. That actually the money to be made was in the hype on the way there rather than the news. By the rumor, so the news, the typical thing. And the only thing that kept me in was the thought of a second Lassonde curve, which was scaling.
Yeah.
And it was a strong feeling because I'd made up my mind, and for me this had gone from half a penny to whatever it was at the stage, but it was life-changing, totally and utterly life-changing money for me. So I could have just walked away, picked up my ball, walked off the playground and gone home happy. And that was that was my intention, to be honest. And it was only Scally and a bit of greed and a bit of all reading the LSE board, who had now vilified all the people who said the MRE was the big selling point, which I believed, and it wasn't. But I think my luck came when I realized that people like me were just holding on for Scally, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to. I think we've
The MRE was the selling point.
Yes. It was, because after the MRE, as always, as you've said, the sun. But if you chop off those bits, if you was, well, let me start again. If you was to chop off anything that was not to do directly with Havieron, that changes the curve. That changes the data. And yes, it does look like it is an exact Lassonde curve. And maybe if we were at 15p going into the MRE because there wasn't any spikes, let's call it 20p because that sounds cheap. Could it have dropped to 8 or 9p? It may have done, and maybe the GDXJ buying all those shares has saved us because now we're sat at the low to mid teens, rightly or wrongly. I mean,
I look at the GDXJ in the context of the Lassonde curve. It's people who buy GDXJ are junior gold and other commodity exploration investors, i.e., other than biotech, the highest risk corner of the stock market. So
I can't disagree with that.
As we went from 15 to 27 on some poor fucking fund who bought everyone's shares at 27 when they were worth 18 at the time, it's, to me, I don't view the graph like that. I view the graph and the Lassonde curve in just pure realism terms of the time frame it takes to make a discovery, and if you're the 1 in 1,000 that makes it all the way to keeping your share in that mine, which might be us, probably won't, but might be us, that is a minimum of an 8-year period. I don't think anyone's ever done it faster.
Not at all.
Of humanity. And that's where I think a lot of people, they go, I want to invest in a cancer cure. I want to invest in a got someone who finds a gold mine. Yeah, but there's two stages, and that's where the Lassonde curve came into me. I started off as a high risk investor. I then got massively lucky with GGP, and then I started going, well, hold on. That's not going to carry on forever. It's not going to be a bull market forever. Crypto is not going to be a bull market forever. Nothing is. I personally, my macro view, which is something we should talk about, is that we're in for a horrible 2 years. I'm genuinely considering, even though I love GGP with all my heart and mind and soul, I'm considering moving some money to cash because of the macro environment. Because I genuinely believe we are totally heading for a recession for the next 1 or 2 years.
Oh no, the writing's been on the wall for ages, and it's playing out exactly as planned.
But I think that's it. But I think that's it for investing. It's actually not that difficult. What's difficult is the time frames involved and the emotions on a day-to-day basis that make you act irrationally and not with your macro understanding, intellect, and thesis. Wow, I said that well for a drunk Liverpool
Dude,
supporter.
that was amazing for
Oh,
2 bottles in. That was amazing. That's if we was using my other software, I'd be able to give you a round of applause for that. The yeah, no, I agree. And if anything, Greatland Gold as a share, as an investor, as a new investor, because that's what I consider myself, really, in the grand scheme of things,
every day you hold
has
shares, you rebuy those every day. You could sell
has
them.
taught me so many lessons. And the only way you can look at it, and I think it was Jesse Livermore. There was a book that our good friend Costa recommended to me by a guy called Jesse Livermore, who wrote it like in 1907. Like the dude was an absolute epic stock broker market dude, and he saw that every time he blew up his account and lost all his money, that was the price of a lesson. That was the price of education.
Correct.
And
What a way
I've
to look at
spent
it. What a way to look at it.
absolutely,
My
and
failure in life is the price of my success. I mean, brilliant.
yeah, no, exactly. And then you come back and you come back stronger, having learned your mistakes. And this share has enabled me to make some right old nonsense mistakes, and you've got to make the mistakes to learn. And what's going to be nice about this is the fact that we're investing in a company that, if nothing else, it's even if it's sold tomorrow, it's going to sell where I'm likely to double whatever shares I've bought in the last 6 months.
Indeed. And you know what's nice? You know what's nice for me, Liam, is I cut my teeth, unfortunately, a little before GGP, so I'd already lost lost it all. And GGP was my phoenix from the flames after reducing 10,000 into £800, and then it was all in on GGP and hope for the best. And I got lucky, and that's pretty much the story from there. Other than doubling down right the way through. But what's been great to see is, I think we've turned the people who've been here, all the the familiar names from LSE, from our chat, from everywhere. We've turned short-term gamblers into long-term investors, and that won't be seen. I hope we've got some of these friendships in 5 to 10 years. I hope we've got the odd investor still here. I'll still be here in 5 to 10 years, and maybe we'll have a reunion or a live show in 5 to 10 years, and maybe we'll still be going, Liam. But what's so great is I was the GDP's been my entire education in the stock market because it's had everything. I was in it at Newmont at 2.2p, and we missed, and it went down to half a penny. I lost 80% in like a day. Maybe it was 2 days, but it was at least 60% in a day. That was my life savings. I'd gone all in on this exploration stock where LSE chatboard and everyone on it told me that this is the sure thing. Newmont's there with deep sensing technology, and we're done. Ernest Giles is the holy grail, and we've got the CEO going is the biggest fund in a decade.
And yet it's still there waiting to be drilled.
Have we got any results yet?
No, I'm refreshing feverishly, and the producer can't even find it. The link I sent him said no, request rejected.
There was a comment on the chat at 23:10, which is 20 minutes ago, that next 30 minutes to an hour, so still a while yet.
They're coming through thick and fast. They are coming through.
I'm hoping we got someone on the chat who's obviously gonna stay awake and let us know whilst we chat. But
there's plenty of them there. The trick is for me to keep an eye on the chat. Excuse me, I drank too much tea very quickly.
It's lovely to see, Liam, you in particular, actually, because you've kind of been, if you don't mind me saying, you were quite green as an investor when you found GGP.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was green as an investor. I'd never really done investing. I'd never even played in the stock market. My entire investing career was chucking £25 every month into a pot with old HL, and then deciding to buy on the 10th of every month, regardless of the price of the shares out of the FTSE 250 that I chose. Do you know what I mean? That was it. That was all my investing. So I've played games, I've made a few quid here and there, but the real education has come from holding this share.
Yeah.
Um,
And accumulating over the years, and more than that, I think, Liam, is you found not a calling, but an ability to go into something so deep that you really, it becomes more than a profit and loss situation. And some will say that's an emotional attachment, which of course I can agree with is a bad thing to have in investing, definitely. But I think on the other side is, for someone like me who's an all-in man, I hold 2 shares between my pension and my ISAs and my entire family, and that's it at the moment, 2 shares, and it's usually only been 1 share. I've got another one at the moment because I kind of believe in it, and maybe it's another GGP, Modern Resources. But it, that deep dive, that learning everything there is to know about not only a share but a subject. The years we've had of planning satellites and the years we've had of all the different people who've dissected the share, if you've stuck with it, you haven't just invested in GDP, you've had a total investment education.
Oh no, absolutely. An investment in many things, including myself. I never thought I'd be the referee to the world's biggest football match on Telegram. Um,
Right.
and I've never. It's an interesting.
Fair. You're not fairer these days. In the early days, you were bastard. I won't lie. You were just like, he's out.
There's still the odd comments where I'm like, really, are we going there today?
I'm just,
But
just kidding.
it's hilarious though because because we've restricted, because I've restricted, because I hate change so much. Getting into our Telegram group is really quite hard at the moment. And I've done that on purpose because we keep getting all these new people turn up, and we tend to go through this whole rigmarole of them understanding the rules, learning the rules, taking the piss, having the arguments, and people sort of bedding themselves into the group. Whereas what we've got right now is just a core group of people who are all familiar with each other, all know who the jokers are, who the people are that may say things that could cause a stir, who they know who you can have a laugh with.
Smartest evening, mate.
He's there. He was one of the first in this evening. One of the first in. You can't knock that.
Yeah, it may be divisive, but every group needs a core worker like you, my friend.
You can't knock it. And that's the thing. The minute we open it up, every time we open up the damn group to a new bunch of people, uproar happens.
Well, I think the difficulty is with Telegram, and the new bunch of people are probably a bunch of bot spamming twats. If they're new investors, we welcome. You know what I like is that you got to grips with Telegram and you managed to get Rose to do a purge. You see, now that I think is perfect because, of course, people make decisions, have decisions to make in their life, and they move on. And they might want to look in on the GGP chat anymore, but they sold their shares years ago. Those people shouldn't be in the group because they're just taking up numbers. And at the end of the day, the purge is a wonderful solution to that. So comment, say hello, or you'll get kicked the fuck out.
But I think that's where the weekend groups help because actually there's some people in the weekend chat that aren't usually so vocal during the week. And but I think that weekend chat is fabulous because it gives people a place to talk about their nonsense that 2 years ago they would want to try and talk about publicly.
And let's be honest, we all want to break the GGP rules on the chat every now and then.
Oh yeah, I'm the world's worst. I break bloody rules all the time.
Get the prerogative to do that if we want, but for the masses on the chat, we all want to just post a GIF or a stupid thing. Bonsai. So yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Look at me electric skateboarding. Hold on, it's just me who likes the weekend chat. No, I think you're right. I think it's separating. That's where I like to think the community comes in, man. We've got a great community. We really do. We've got a lot of people. When money's involved, it's hard to build a community. I've seen this in crypto. It's all good until it's not good, and then it's all controlling mayhem.
But that's what that's what makes us, though, isn't it? Is it's you don't find out the person who you are, and you don't, and as a group, until the shit happens. When the shit really happens, and you have to dig deep, that's when you find out who you are. And I think as a group,
Investor, suddenly the names appear, they disappear, they move on to chase a rainbow, they get lucky, they don't get lucky. But I think that's what you've learned in the GGP world is you don't get lucky.
no,
We can all look back to December 2020 and the months that happened around that area where it's a bull market in everything. You're not a fucking hero. You're not a fucking genius. You threw a dart at a board. You could have thrown a dart at any board, and you could have done very, very, very well. And if you threw the dart at the GGP board, you probably did do very, very, very well if you sold. But you didn't sell. You were greedy. Be honest, because everyone was, me included. My target was, I do stick to strategy. I'll give myself one piece of credit. I do set a strategy and I do stick to it. But the funny thing with GGP, it's not funny. It's a very first world problem. I could pay off my mortgage at 39p. And
oh man,
everything I did to start was to get 1 million shares. Everything I did was just take loans, do all the 1 million. That was it. Well, I just have to get 1 million shares because Hydro and Mickey say it's going to £1.44, and I'm done for life, right?
I tell you what, Mickey's 144. If that happens,
It'll happen in my daughter's lifetime.
yeah, no disagreements there.
But that was the key. It was get the million shares, sit with it, and that is the key.
There's something crazy about having 1 million shares, isn't there?
It's psychological for me because I
can't obviously they can't
27,000, and that was a lot for me at the time. And then as I progressed through my career and through my life in the last 7 years, what 1 million shares was totally and utterly unattainable for me when I started buying GDP. Totally, utterly. And yes, it was cheaper in those days, but it was still totally and utterly. It was still, I don't know, 1 million shares in those days was probably 15 grand. And I was in like 15 grand debt. So, it wasn't
crazy. Excuse me. I shouldn't say this because this is a Greatland Gold show with a Greatland Gold audience and a Greatland Gold everything. But I've been accumulating some shares recently in another share, in another investment world completely.
Like. This is our domain.
I got 1 million shares in another company.
Yes.
I mean, we won't talk about the fact that it's point of a penny, but currently 1 million shareholder, and it does feel good to see that number on the screen.
It's a lot of zeros, let's be honest.
It's probably about the only time in my life I will hold 1 million shares in a company. So, but anyway,
the thing is, you'll sell them or buy them in the same manner according to the value.
Do you want to hear something funny? You're 2 bottles in, right? You're 2 bottles in, and you are happy as Larry. The producer has been calling me out for the last 25 minutes saying you're looking at the wrong document. Why are you doing this? Bloody, 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 blah, blah. And has just realised he's watching the show from February.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh.
Good job, producer. Well done. Finger on the button and pulse as always. Welcome to the live show, my friend.
Even more funny because, let's be honest, our producer is so much more on the nail than me or you could ever hope.
No, absolutely. The producers.
That's why he's the producer. He gets shit right, and we bumble through it, right?
And we listen to him when we're watching the chat. Still,
come on. Let's. I want to know actually from you because I know you're following things on a wider macro perspective, and I want to interview the interviewer for once because I'm drunk and it feels like a nice thing to do.
Some crazy shit stew questions.
Give me your macro view. I want to know, and you know what? I want to know your gold macro view. Because that's obviously what we're invested in, and copper, you can mix that in. But I also want to know give me 3 years. Give me 3 years of what you think is happening globally.
I spent
World War III. Like we're all hoping that's a remote possibility. So you don't go there. But what's
the view. It's interesting because the last
what's your
18
view?
months.
Your view?
No. Just let me because I'm going to get there. The last 18 months, I took a lot of videos in. I consumed a lot of videos from Kitco News and all those that Michael was promoting.
Yeah.
So I became really heavily invested, I guess, in that gold space. And obviously you can't necessarily listen to the people that go, it's $50,000 for gold.
No.
But at the same time, gold
sitting there.
There is a huge ticking time bomb under gold. I do believe that. I do believe that it's going to go up. It's not going to go massive. And I think until the banks let it go, it's not going to go anywhere specifically far. The one you got to watch is silver. I think silver is the bigger play in terms of as a commodity. I think silver's got a lot further to go, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest.
More upside, more downside. You're just leveraging the silver, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's the same.
The report is out.
It's the crypto equivalent of buying Ethereum rather than Bitcoin.
It is out apparently. Thank you very much to Mr. Hazelhurst, who was first in there, who was paying attention and not listening to my.
Are we out?
Waffling. I'm just refreshing as fast as I can, and maybe it's not there. Maybe it's at Newcrest's website. Oh, dearie me. Hunt the report. It's probably the bloody finance report anyway. We do this every time. We're like, the report's out. And then it's the finance report.
Yeah, it's the proper quarterly, which no one reads.
Boring. Although I do hold NCM shares, so
investor, then I'm lagging.
Maybe it was an April's Fool. Maybe it's not really out. Oh no, there it is. Quarterly report. 3 months ended 31st of March.
Oh, damn you! How have you found it?
It's just refreshed on my. Oh, not found. Boo! Here we go again.
With me or something.
It's playing silly buggers again.
NCM, there we go. Quarterly report. 3 months ended 31st of March. Not found. Fuck, man. Come on.
Results and reports. Let's do this the other way. 21, 22 half-year results. No, we want the quarterly reports.
Calculation there. Sorry.
It's not out on their website either. You both out. Choddy says they are both out. Hurrah! If you can get the bloody screen to refresh.
Someone's written uranium. I love it.
I can't even get the quarterly report to load up, let alone the. Come on, you swines, let's have it, please. We do not want any corpse in while we are live on YouTube. Do you know what, Stu? Some of the stuff my daughter some of the stuff my daughter watches on YouTube is absolutely hilarious. Like, it's absolute garbage. And I think to myself, oh, 13, going on 100. Dude, you've got so much bad nonsense coming your way.
Don't.
Enjoy these days. Please enjoy these days and the time with your girls, because those times are precious. And once they get their own... Josh, why can't it load? Right, sorry, boys and girls. I'm struggling to get the damn thing to load at the moment, so I can't carry on with that part of the show, even though some of you may be looking at it. So if
I'm also checking, and there's nothing coming up yet.
No.
People looking in and saying hello. Who's here?
Is that you watching us?
We've got Josh, we've got Harry, we've got Nigel, we've got Malcolm.
Wow, that was from like an hour ago.
What's happening?
The Oracle was in the house. Good evening, sir. You've pushed play again.
Sorry. It's off now. Are we back?
It's random listening to myself. It really is.
That was me. Apologies. I just ruined the live stream. I wanted to see the comments on the YouTube stream.
You have to go in, mute it, and then you can pop the chat out. That's what I do.
Apologies, everyone, but we still haven't been able to get the reports. So
Yeah, these are so anticipated that we're all crashing the server.
what's kind of nice is that I'm waiting for someone on the chat to come up with the 10 gram over 120 meter intercepts, and then I'm
I'm going to go to
got it on my phone. I've got it on my phone. Someone's posted.
hot copper.
I might go with the phone. Thank you to whoever that was. I'll credit you in a minute. Here we go. Shit, I can't see anything. It's tiny. Yeah, we might have to. I literally can't see anything. We might have to get this up on the screen.
There's nothing on hot copper.
I can read the heading. It says exciting growth opportunities at Breccia, Red Chris, and Havieron continue to deliver high-grade results.
Hey, Stu.
Now I'm going to move to Havieron.
Stu, the YouTube comments in the Eastern Breccia new results had 145 wedge 1 returned 150.1 meters at 3.7 grams per ton and 0.15% copper.
Yeah.
From 1827 meters, including 42.3 at 8.6.
Right. Oh.
Thank you very much, Wild Bill UK 99.
I'll try and read this because it's on my phone. But at Havieron, growth drilling continues to expand the system footprint and identify high-grade extensions to the mineralization in the Eastern Breccia, Southeastern Crescent Zone, Northern Breccia, and Northwest Pod target areas. Highlights in the Eastern Breccia. Oh, this is the one we were running for, guys. Let's just pause here. In the Eastern Breccia, new results from HAD 145 wedge 1 returned. Oh, beautiful. 150.1 meters at 3.7 grams. Fuck me.
I'd rather not.
150 meters at 3.7. Has anyone been reading RNSs from around the area? Like 1.5 meters at 3.7. Just know how special this is. All I can say is wow. We've got 0.15 Cu, so not much copper, and that's from 1.8 thousand meters. So fair way down, 8 grams per ton, and 0.4% copper from 1854. 0.4 is good in copper wise.
I have it on my screen. It's just loading up now. So I'm going to share screen. I'm waiting for it to load, and we are going straight into that one. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have it 31st of March. That should say. Now, hopefully. Oh, no, there it is. Now it should be sharing. Now you should see it.
There we go.
At Havieron. I mean, look at that. 145 wedge 1. 150 meters at 3.7 grams per ton. That's just crazy. And the Southeast Crescent results from HAD 133 wedge 6 were received. 173 meters at 1.9 gram per ton. Now, some of the people that we witness bearing RNSs across the place saying, oh my God, this is amazing, get excited over 2 meters at 1.9 gram per ton. Do they not? Including a 43.1 at 3.7 and 0.34% copper. And this from 1,425 meters. This intercept is the deepest high-grade mineralized intercept of the project to date, at approximately 250 meters below the current mineral resource, and demonstrates that the high-grade mineralization remains open at depth, Stu. It remains open at depth. Stick that in your report that you released yesterday and smoke it.
Does anyone doubt any time we get these results that it's the gift that just keeps giving?
Oh, man. In Northern Breccia.
Anyone doubt that at this point, really? I mean, we've got 150 meters at our average MRE grade, which is about 3.7, right? We've got 150 meters of the shit, not like 20. 50.
I love the fact you're calling gold shit.
Mind blowing, though. I think that's the thing. Go and find me another explorer. Go and find me someone else that is coming up with these sort of drill results consistently. I don't care if the share price doesn't move. You're missing a trick if you don't identify that this is the most significant discovery in 30 years, 40 years.
If I may, in the northern Breccia, the northwest pod targets Crescent light intercepts have been returning infill drilling with HAD 89 wedge 4 intersecting 52.7 metres at 7.1 grams per tonne from 1,074 metres, including, I shit you not, 31.4 metres at 12 grams per tonne gold and 0.03% copper down there at 1,094 metres. In addition, HAD 85 wedge 6 intersected 52 metres at 3 grams per tonne from 1,327 metres, including a useless 17.9 at 7.7 grams per tonne. All within the northern Breccia inferred resource. Newcrest Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Sandeep Biswas said, "We're absolutely delighted to release the exceptional results at Brucejack. No one cares about that one. Blah, 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 blah. New page. Oh, didn't even bother mentioning Havieron. He did not mention Havieron.
It looked like it.
Oh, there it is. That's all he had to say about it. Havieron also continues to deliver encouraging results with several high-grade drill results in targeting areas, including the eastern Breccia that sit outside the inferred mineral resource estimate, said Mr. Biswas. Is that all you've got to say about it, Mr. Biswas? Is that it? We return you some stonking results,
150
and
meters.
you're getting excited over Brucejack.
There's 150 meters of eastern Breccia intercept outside of even our own MRE. 150 meters at MRE grade, 3.7 gram. That's fucking ridiculous. It's fantastic, as always.
Here we go. This is why, look, because Brucejack, 19 metres at 36 grams per tonne, or 20 metres at 187 grams per tonne, including 0.5 metres at 6,700 grams per tonne.
I mean, that's quite nice. I won't lie.
I know. I feel like I should take my comment back a little bit.
But let's be honest, that's the first time we've ever seen Brucejack in any of
Yes.
the results. So we don't know what it is, where it is, how it computes. It might just be a pure vein plunging to the center of the earth a few meters wide. So
The Havieron project is operated by Newcrest under joint venture with Greatland Gold. Newcrest holds a 70% interest in the Havieron project and has an option to acquire additional 5% joint venture interest at fair value.
Why are they still calling it 70%?
Because this is where it gets going, because actually they only own 60% on paper. Cheeky sods. Newcrest continue to progress the process. That's not a mouthful. Good job I'm saying that and not you. Newcrest continue to progress the process to determine the option price for the 5% joint venture interest. They've mentioned it in accordance with the JVA during the period. The JVA includes tolling principles reflecting the intention of the parties that, subject to a successful exploration program, feasibility study and positive decision to mine, the resulting joint venture mineralized material will be processed at Telfer. We know where it is. They've completed 237,444 metres of drilling from 285 drill holes to date. That's excluding holes in progress, abandoned holes or drill holes which have not been sampled. For the period, 10,952 metres from 13 holes. That's a nice amount of holes for a change. It's not 3 like last year. New assay results are reported from 15 drill holes, including 2 additional reports during the December quarter. Of the reported holes, 10 returned significant assay intercepts in excess of 50 gram metres of gold. During the quarter, we focused on the potential resource growth in the southeast Crescent zone, northern Breccia, eastern Breccia, and regional exploration holes outside of the main Havieron mineralized system. Assay reported included the southeast Crescent deeps, northern Breccia northwest pod, eastern Breccia, and the first pass drill test of geophysical targets outboard of the Havieron system, with drill holes reported from Zipper and 2 pending from step-out drilling north and south of the Havieron system.
What's happening? Now, carry on reading.
At the Eastern Breccia, assays for an additional 4 holes, striking extensions from previous reported drill holes have been received. As reported in December 21, quarter, I don't know why I said that in an Australian accent, mate. The quarter had 104 returned 62.5 metres at 5.9 grams per tonne, and including, there's your 49.4 at 7.1 grams per tonne. It's approximately 200 metres to the southwest of previous drilling. Holy shit, Batman! 200 metres further down the road, they found more bloody gold. Guess we'll have to keep them open a few more years. Blah, 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 blah.
No. New results from HAD 145 West 1, Wedge 1.
Testing 100 metres to the northwest of 104. I can't wait to look at the photos for this. I took my eyes off the prize.
150 meters at 3.7.
There it is, from 1,827 meters, including 42.3 at 8.6.
This is Eastern Breccia, guys.
Yeah.
We have another sulfide zone.
104.
We have another sulfide zone. Or a continuation. One of the two.
No, it can't because of the dike. The dike's in the way.
It's under
Don't get me wrong, I'm no geologist, but I thought the dike was quite a barrier. That's me being a barrier.
As far as I can see, all around it. But this is a continuation or a new deposit.
Here it is. Represent the most significant intercepts in the Eastern Breccia zone to date and confirm the potential for this separate northwest trending corridor to host crescent-style grading. Oh, I need to read that again because that sounded like a load of nonsense.
Discovery, guys. Let's be honest. It's a new discovery of high-grade mineralization.
Outside of the Crescent zone. Outside of the dome.
Yeah, for sure.
Cock and balls. Cock and balls.
Yeah.
Someone should make a gif of that. Cock and balls. Cock and balls. Intercepts in the Eastern Breccia zone today. I'm going to slow down. Confirmed, I'm going to go into my late night radio voice. The potential for separate northwest trending corridor to host Crescent style. Too many S's. Northwest trending corridor to host Crescent style high grade mineralization. Drilling is now focused on defining the extents of this high grade mineralization, which remains open in all directions.
Oh, that's never a bad comment to read.
I mean,
read the last sentence again. Sorry, read the last sentence of that again.
Drilling is now focused on defining the extents of the higher grade mineralization, which remains open in all directions. You coughed over my.
Sorry, I ruined it.
Yeah, drilling is now focused on defining the extents of this higher grade mineralization, which remains open in all directions.
It's beautiful. It's the gift that keeps giving.
Should we look at some pictures?
Yes. Wait, don't miss anything. Yeah.
Had one. I'm just going to paraphrase this bit.
Yeah, that's it.
Had 133 wedge 7 and 133 wedge 8 are approximately 250 metres below the inferred mineral resource and west of what is interpreted to be the steeply southeast plunging high-grade Crescent zone. The best mineralised to date developed next to the Dolerite dike in Had 133 wedge 6, which returned 173.2 metres at 1.9 grams per tonne, including 43 at 3.7, which remains the deepest high-grade mineralized intercept for the project to date, at approximately 250 metres below the current mineral resource estimate. Further drilling is planned to test potential for high-grade resource extensions.
Let's just stop there because this is our original Southeast Crescent zone, right?
Yeah, but below it.
They're raving about 173.2 at 1.9 and 43 at 3.7. What have we just got in the Eastern Breccia? 150 at what?
7.9.
What?
Let me scroll up.
Double
there it is.
150 at 3.7 and 42 at 8. Now scroll down.
Not even close.
170 at 1.9 and 40 at 3.7. So it's pretty much double.
So there's more gold next door, boys and girls.
pretty much. This
Best
is
place to find a gold mine, right
wanted
next
to
to the
see.
one you're doing.
This is what we wanted to see. That Breccia is looking like a new discovery.
You thought the southeast crescent was good, but I think the eastern Breccia is going to be holding a shit ton more. Just letting the silence speak for itself there for a moment. Liam is shouting about his favourite subject again. Oh,
Gold steps, yes.
I think I know who that is. That worries me. 35.7 meters at 2.3 grams per ton, and 170. See, that's not a bad intercept, is it? 173.2 meters at 1.9 grams per ton. And then Northern Breccia infill drilling has targeted known high-grade mineralisation around the northwest pod target on the northwest margin of the Breccia. In addition to high-grade mineralisation within the core of the Breccia, both high-grade northwest pod mineralisation had that's a shit ton going on there, had 89 wedge 4, and the broader lower grade northern Breccia mineralised were intersected.
I mean, this is significant. I mean, come on. It's 64 meters at 2.1. I mean, that's entirely commercial. You got your high grade running through it at 23.7 at 5.3. And then you've got 52 meters at 3. I mean, this is and 18 meters at 7. I mean, this is the northwest pod. This isn't the southeast crescent. It's the northwest pod. And if anyone else is reporting 20 meters of 7.7 or 52 meters at 3, for God's sake, that's 150 gram meter intercept. This is the northwest pod. Like, let's get to some images because this is going to be great.
It's the northwest pod. Oh my god, had 93, 273.6 meters at 1.1 gram per ton. Thank you very much.
If you're block caving the shit out of this, let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
not block caving the shit out of it, it's not. But none of this is in the PFS. None of this is in the DFS. This is way outside of the northwest pod.
I'm half keeping an eye on, which is why I keep looking this way, on the YouTube chat. Choddy makes a great point. How the hell can they fair market value 5% when it keeps expanding like this?
They can't. And I think that's what we all got to realize is the fair market value is a contract mechanism which unfortunately isn't in our favor. It was designed to get us over the capex hurdle. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's something that's kind of, baked into any CEO who becomes
I've run out of tea.
a resource exploration CEO. But you've gone, shit, if we get this thing and it happens to be the white elephant, can we get to production without having to raise money? And that's what the 5% was intended.
Oh, look at that.
123 million. And it doesn't.
Oh, it's right in your ear. I'm so sorry about that. Look at that northwest pod target. It's not even in the northern Breccia. It's outside of the eastern Breccia.
This is becoming the full oval, isn't it? I mean, look at all the grey lines in between that have nothing there. I mean,
that's all the old stuff. So this is the new ones. Look at HAD 84.
I mean, look at the eastern Breccia. I mean, those pink drills.
That's massive, isn't it? That's 200 meters.
Dude,
that's
look at 340 meters at 2 grams per ton. The continuation, as far as a block cave is concerned, is, I don't want to say it because it's like saying we should have beaten Villarreal tonight. We should have. And that at 342 meters on an average of 2 grams is the best block cave target I've seen in any resource deposit I've seen in 10 years.
Ooh. 3D plan.
Oh, interesting to conceptualize that, isn't it?
I want to rotate it.
I'll be honest, I didn't see the eastern. I saw it more to the left and not as deep. Maybe because they call the southeast crescent deeps the southeast crescent deeps. and the Eastern Breccia is next to it, but it's deep, isn't it?
It is deep. Wide as well, 200 meters.
I mean,
And, Stu, anything that's green is outside of the mineral resource. Hello.
just look at that drill, 342 meters.
Still going on about it. We reported that last year. I'm pretty sure of that one.
Just it's the continuation of that average grade, which is that's what's mineable. You know, you can have a billion fucking ounces for a meter. It's not mineable. The fact that you can average out a 340 meter intercept at a mineable grade, this deposit's incredible, and anyone who has the patience to wait will change their life.
I don't want to jump around the place, but I just want to look at we might have missed something on the drilling. Have we got that far yet? In terms of someone's made a comment about how far they've done for the decline.
Oh, right.
Maybe I should just control F the word decline.
Yeah, I'll have a quick look.
How can the word decline not appear? Boo! Where's the comment I saw?
I've got a message from Paddy that's been forwarded. Had 104 and had 145 wedge 1 represent the most significant intercepts in the Eastern Breccia zone to date and confirm the potential for the separate northwest trending corridor to host Crescent-style high-grade mineralization. Drilling is now focused on defining the extents of this high-grade mineralization, which remains open in all directions, which I think we picked up on, but I think is very much worth repeating, isn't it? That is what we heard for the Southeast Crescent zone when the share price got started.
So the decline update was in the main quarterly update, and it was 313 meters. They're almost. They got to be almost there, surely.
Look at these new drills in that picture you've pulled out. I mean,
It's just
solid bars throughout. Really
stunning.
There's a lot of white matter there. That is just full of extensions, isn't it?
Yeah. And Bamps would always tell me to look at the level plan. So this is the 3850 RL. No idea what it means, but we should always look at it. Jury Joint Venture is a farming and joint venture agreement with Greatland Gold with respect to the Black Hills Patterson Range East projects located within the Patterson province, approximately 50 clicks from Telfer and near Havieron. The joint venture even covers an area of 248 kilometres squared. As previously highlighted, Newcrest has met stage 1 and now holds a 51% interest in the Jury joint venture under the terms of the agreement. Newcrest has the potential to earn an additional 24% to 75 through the expenditure of a further 17 million over 3 years during stage 2. That really doesn't sound like a great deal. I appreciate we've had it for 2 years now, but that really sounds like a shitty deal.
It's different to Havieron because we hadn't had a discovery hole.
Okay. Field programs are in preparation and will be ready for execution once access can be obtained following the wet season. I might have to go looking for some drills.
This is one of the worst wet seasons, because I am.
Last year was way, way, way worse.
I don't know. Yeah, look, it was shit last year. But over the 7 years I've been here, this does seem to be one of the seasons where things are being affected.
Excuse me while I zoom down past all of the things that we don't care about.
I'll check the chat.
This is very crisp. Boring. Here we go. Very quickly.
I've got a message on the chat saying It's in the financial report regarding 313 meters of decline progress, put around and rerouting. So let's see how accurate that is. Back up to 7 rigs we have, and Zippo 1 and 2 are a miss, unfortunately. So we're getting some
Which I
this evening.
think
Thank you guys for reading this in advance of us. We can
this is the 20-second release of the report. It's crazy. Oh, picture. Look at that. Which plan is this? Doesn't say how deep it is.
It shows the can't miss.
It's absolutely stunning, that. It's just like a lump of gold.
It's a wonderful.
There's me playing down the whole like the wet season, and my editor just said, haven't they had a massive flooding in West Australia that's been widely reported and leading to some deaths? Whoops. Maybe it's been a bit shit.
I don't know where this is confirmed, but I'm sure if
From a satellite image point of view, last year was way worse. There was a lot more water around on the ground at Havieron. Here we go, Stu. Here she is. Look at that. This is from This is a 5,000 meters RL.
Oh wow.
And they've sunk that straight down straight through the blue stuff, haven't they? Had not 104. What was that? 93.
The wedge is insane.
Straight through the middle of it. It's crazy.
I think what's interesting on the chat that's just come up, Bottle, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere, is back up to 7 rigs. So I think that's key information we're all looking for tonight.
The 7th rig.
As we were with Zeepa, I haven't seen the Zeepa targets, but 1 and 2 have missed. Fair
You
enough.
can go away, pussycat. Guess we're getting a visitor. Look at that. Bamps has said this is a bit like a light bulb for a long time. I think from episode 1 of Brew with Bottle that we did. But if you interpreted this image that's on my screen right now, you can see how bulbous it is at the bottom and narrowing to the top. It's not quite a light bulb shape, but I can definitely see why he was saying that.
Yeah.
And there's massive intercepts right down there.
I mean, from
Isn't
a
it?
long while ago, we were saying this is getting better with depth, and I think it's starting to prove it, isn't it? I mean, looking at the photo with the Eastern Breccia, seeing where it is in relation to the Southeast Crescent deeps.
I'm hoping there it is.
Realize that actually it's downwards and outwards is the prize.
It's on it's this one here, isn't it? These are Eastern Breccia pair. Had 104. I tell you what, you've got to give it to. You can use a drawing tool. Love it. I have no idea how to clear it. There you go. Control Z. So there's your dike, obviously. So this is the Eastern Breccia. No, literally, I'm in the middle of a live show, Cat. His name's Stinker. And he's going to meow at me forever.
Just scroll back up. So in the top left there, just focus in on that. I mean, we're looking at from 1,074 meters, there's 31.4 meters at 12 grams per ton. Just look where there's not a lot of drilling there. There's no other holes that go there. And we're talking about 30 meters at 12 grams. So, bang on to your 100-meter gram width.
I can't even see what you're talking about. What drill are you talking about?
Left of that photo, that white box. Read the bottom of it. 31.4 meters at 12 grams.
I see it.
And look at the small red block it's pointing to. And look
that one right there.
Other grayed out line drills there are there.
Yeah.
I.e. none.
These ones.
Yeah, and there's not much there, is there? But in the same breath, there's not much drilling there. None of those ones have hit anything, or they're somewhere else. But that's hit a significant intercept.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it has.
There's nothing to the left, to the right. Much like the ones we're looking at the bottom of the page here, that big circle you gave. There's no other previous drills there, guys. Look around it. This is Eastern Breccia, but there's nothing there. They've got that, all of that blue. I'm hoping to assume is mineralized.
So that's an interesting.
It's a good cross section, isn't it?
Yeah, with the sulfide crescent zone on the other side of the dike, for the most part of it. Although I think this is a zoomed in section. Let's just see. That says 5,000 meters, and this says 5,000 meters. But I'm pretty sure that this is. It's a slightly different cross section, isn't it?
So we need to see that RL diagram that Sean posted. I'm not intelligent enough to know what that means.
Can you hear my cat?
I can.
That's a shame.
That's the picture to look at, because again, look down at the bottom there. 173 meters at 1.9 grams. Huge. Look how much they're putting as purple there with so little drills. There's 3 drills that go through there.
Oh man.
Have you not fed him? Her.
No, he wants to go out. Coming in. And because I've got the green screen up, he can't get on the sofa behind that sits behind me and come and sit in my ear and scream at me. So he's very perplexed at the moment as to what on earth is this thing that's in his way that means he can't do his normal routine.
Do a Panenka.
Stupid cat. Right. PST says, please bring up page 10 of the main quarterly report.
Page 10.
Page 10 of the quarterly report. Right, I've got to remember how to share that now. So let's stop sharing. Hello, we're back. And then we're going to share screen. March quarterly report. Should be that one. Share. Hopefully you can now see the quarterly report. Page 10. 8. 9. 10. Oh, gosh.
Oh.
A lot of reading.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. We read that. The development of the exploration decline continued to experience poor ground conditions during the quarter, with 313 metres completed as of the 20th of April. It's like a week and a day ago. Advance rates have been significantly impacted by unfavourable geotechnical and hydrological conditions, requiring extensive local and surface dewatering, pre-excavation ground treatment, and substantial ground support installation. Changes in the design of the decline have been made, bringing the first downward spiral to the current chainage, which will allow the decline to transition to better ground conditions at depth sooner. Makes sense. As a result of this change, development rates are expected to improve towards the end of next quarter. First oil is now expected in the second half of FY24, previously anticipated during FY24. It's not really a bad thing, is it? I mean,
sort of a 6-month push, but not quite.
And Michael will always tell you that the FY24 is financial year 24, which is like June to June in 23 or something crazy like that. Work is ongoing to understand the impact of the overall project schedule, as well as assessing options to recover some of these delays and minimise associated cost increases. Newcrest is also reviewing the impact of inflationary pressures on future capital expenditure and operating costs as part of the feasibility study. Further updates will be provided once the work is complete. Drilling of the blind bore shaft is now completed, and liners have been installed to design depth. This milestone marks a significant reduction in risk to shaft stability during construction. That's always good. Key contracts for Havieron FS have been awarded, and works to progress the necessary approvals and permits required to commence the development of an operating underground mine and associated infrastructure are ongoing, which is interesting because that there suggests they're going to mine this.
I mean, totally.
And
Everything.
we've not had a decision to mine. Oh, whoop-de-whoop-whoop-whoop. I don't know what that noise was. I have no idea what that noise was. I'm sorry, but it's gone midnight, and we're going mining, Stu.
I think it's a tale of two halves in as far as results are concerned tonight. That's my initial feeling. It's a tale of a better good half and a not so bad half. The bad half is that we've just read out.
The bad half is
China is still struggling. There's potentially further delays. This, by the end of it, could push out to full year 2025. And that might be a big concern for people who want to get out at the end of the year, next year, whatever the case is. But
at the same time,
the only thing I can think about is those Eastern Breccia intercepts continue to be potentially bigger and stronger than what got started, man. Like the Southeast Crescent. It's not even the Southeast Crescent deeps. This is the Eastern Breccia looking like either a new discovery or maybe even the source part of this discovery.
It makes Havieron look small.
It's
I don't know if that's true or not.
It's hard because I totally get people maybe watching tonight and their different strategies and entry points and all the things you got to consider. But
the thing is
for
if
me,
you're setting,
I'm very happy because this reinforces my ability to be here as long as it takes, even if that's 20 goddamn years. Until you stop finding better stuff than the stuff before, which we thought was amazing, I'm here. I'm not moving. The market will rationalize when the time's right, and maybe I'll sell to those people.
But that's the thing, though. This is gold exploration, and gold mine development. I would be hard pushed to think people are setting fairly rigid timelines on things that aren't.
The funny thing is, anyone
who's rigid
in gold exploration or a cancer drug in biotech or whatever the case is, that they're all 1 year, 6-month investors. They're all there for the beginning of the Lassonde curve, if you could call it that, across the industry.
Across the board, yeah, I agree.
They're in aim. They're hoping for a 2x, a 5x, a 10x. What becomes difficult is when a successful company like ours remains on that same stock market with that same psychology, because the value's then there, but you don't necessarily have the herd. Especially now, it seems to be that the herd hasn't been here before results, quite frankly. And Newcrest has said we're not going to issue them like clockwork, and the luster of the shares gone out a bit, and that's why I feel it's at a bottom. To be fair, I feel there's a lot of people in this market who weren't invested for GGP, who didn't understand that even in an accelerated time frame, it's a 5 to 10 year investment. Even going hell to leather, you have to dig it out of the ground. You can't go any faster than you can go, and you can't get those rigs into the middle of nowhere any faster than they are. And that, I think, is why I'm happy to be here at what I think is the bottom of the Lassonde curve, because I think a lot of those speculators, if we remain on the AIM market, are rushing back here. The next piece of positive MRE, or there's going to be a watershed moment, and maybe it's 2 months before production in the end of 2024. It's possible.
It normally is.
It's possible, but when it comes, value will be realized, and all you need to do is understand the multi-decade nature of this deposit and go all in.
I don't know what noise that was. This is retirement stuff, isn't it? This is pension fund. This is just a long-term hold. There's no.
This is not
that I'm giving advice. Not that we're giving advice, but
in this year, like many AIM shares, and investors might hope to get.
But if this is going to carry on like this, If this is going to carry on like this, I may have to rethink my barbecue buying strategy. Because right now, I'm going for a second summer without a new barbecue. And
You are, but
it's
you're
beginning to take the
also not
piss.
telling when that new barbecue comes. You just, I won't let you. I'm gonna make sure we wait until you can be out there cooking.
Even the damn broker targets aren't giving me 28p. I mean, what's a guy got to do to get 28p?
And I mean,
It's a joke.
I want to discuss because I don't know. I know I mentioned on our chat this morning, but what's that all about? We're employing PR companies who I think Danika's excuse this morning was that Greatland signed it off. I mean, that to me says everything. They employ us, they pay us. We created a tweet. It's not our fault because our incorrect tweet was signed off by the people who pay us. What is that? I'm sorry, it's amateur hour, and we're a half a billion company, Liam. I don't think I'm being too harsh. I really don't. I think heads need a role. As far as it's embarrassing. It's as Josh alluded on my Twitter comment. Take note of this comment. It's embarrassing. If you put ASX at the head of a Greatland Gold tweet from the company first thing in the morning, your shareholders are going to believe they've moved to the Australian Stock Exchange.
Yeah. True that.
Fucking amateur. Sorry, but I have to swear there because that conveys my opinion on the matter. It really does. And it makes me wonder how much is amateur around this company.
That
Because
happens
we
all
are a
over the
half-
world, though, doesn't it?
Sean's impressed. Don't get me wrong. He's impressed. Heard nothing of Paul Hallam. Heard nothing of anyone else, frankly. We've heard a lot about term sheets. We've had a lot of promises and timeframes for 5%. We're kind of in limbo at the moment. And I get the people 50% down, like my mother-in-law, 80% down, like other people, who are just going, what the fuck? Like, okay, I'm 60% down, and you're telling me I might make that back in a 5-year period. Not really exciting me much. If I'm on AIM, I may as well chase a rainbow, right? And I think a lot of those people have left, which is why I think we're at the bottom. I think if you had a short-term view, you would have capitulated by now.
Yeah, absolutely. But what does Rick Rule say?
It doesn't matter because those people who have a short-term view aren't educated enough to follow his advice.
No, but Ruley would suggest that when that happens, that's when will you give it a rest? When that happens, that's the time to start loading up, isn't it? I mean, that's what he would do.
It is, and I've been honest with everyone as I always am on the chat. I've got my core holding. I've still got a fair amount out, including this year's ISA allowance, waiting for the 5%. I want to know when it could be bad, it could be good, and I'm hedging my bets and saying if it's bad, I'll buy cheaper. If it's good, I'll buy more expensive. But at the end of the day, outside of my core holding, I'm going, do I invest it today or do I wait for that milestone? And in comparison to what I've got out versus what I've got in, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter. I guess in some ways, I'm hoping it spikes down to 10p and I get a few cheap shares and wait a few years. But that's a stupid way of thinking because I've got...
Did you just... Hang on. I'm going to interject. Did you just say 10p?
I'm talking about the rationalization of keeping further investment monies out.
So that you're not tying it all up like I have.
And what I'm saying is the 5% announcement. And what I'm saying is in my own logic is flawed because I have vastly more invested right now, i.e. everything. And then I have this year's ISA allowance, which I'm holding out in case it's a bad 5%.
In case there's something that happens and you can...
It's stupid because actually the amount I have involved, if it dropped to 5% and I really believed, that it was going to drop to 10p, well, I'd sell the majority. I'd sell what I have and come back in the 10p spike. So I think that says where I am. I'm 75% that the 5% isn't going to cause a drop to 10p, but I'm keeping 5% of my portfolio out in case it does.
Right. Okay. No, that makes sense. I can appreciate that. It's. I mean, this whole 5% thing is really interesting.
It's a huge
Uh,
barrier. I don't. I'll be honest. Also, I don't. I wasn't. I'm upset because I was in South Africa when Sean came to London, and I 1000% would have been there. And I do trust the people who fed back to us on the groups immensely, totally and utterly trust what they said, but it's still not the same as me having been there.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly surprised at some of the comments that were fed back.
Yeah. No, it was great that the guys all went down, and what was nice was a lot of, well, everyone pretty much said the same thing in one way, shape, or form. So there was a lot of,
Sean's a human.
yeah,
He let his guard down, in my opinion. Saying something like, I think the shorts are related to the 5%. That's as a managing director, apparently, not CEO.
Yeah, that's changed.
Yeah, I thought that was a change myself. But it's very telling. I mean, shit, that way to manage expectations at the first visit to your major shareholder base, to tell them that you think that the big boys attached to the short positions, of whom we know the names of, are taking a bet on a bad 5%. It's basically like me betting on Sean's opinion versus Morgan Stanley and their analysts. That's kind of where I am. So, does that worry me that Sean says he thinks the shorts are related to the 5%, and he's been at pains to suggest that this is an inherited contractual term to his managing directorship? I mean, why don't you just tell me you think that the share price is going to tank the moment the 5% is released? That's kind of where I am.
Harsh.
My opinion from those comments, I've taken away that our expectations are vastly too high, and I'm worried it's under 100 million. I'll be honest, I'm worried. Under 100, my acid test is under 100 million. Fuck me, shit is about to get real for a few weeks before the market wakes up and we get back to where we are and it's all behind us. Over 100 million, launch pad, we're ready to go. That's my thesis. What's yours?
I don't give a shit. Literally. I've never put a price on the 5%. I'm not going to put a price on the 5% because I can't control it. It's outside of my realms, and it's not changing the fact that I've invested in a mining company long term. Will it suck? It might do. Will we make some money out of it? We might do. Long story short, if it doesn't add any real value to the company, the share price isn't going to move anyway. So it's not like I'm going to lose anything. And if it doesn't, then I'll buy some. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I agree, but I just think, as talking to the people on the stream and in the group, I just think pretending we're not all sophisticated investors, pretending we've come in the last 2 weeks, all those things considered, I do think there's a stage where the market values us at 6 times that value initially, whatever that is. So whatever that is, if it comes in at 50 million, well, do I think we halve in share price? No, but I think there's a risk of a 33% downward spike. Going from market cap of 500 to 6 times the value of 250, and the market might see it that way. I don't know if they do, but I'm aware to that possibility. And I'm aware to the possibility that for me, having been involved in this journey from the start, it's drastically disappointing if we get less than 123 million, because that's what the 5% was designed to do. It was designed to give us a free carry to production.
Yeah, yes, that I won't
And
disagree with. I want the 5% to pay the capex.
The deposit.
Yeah.
or Newcrest's willingness to manipulate the JV from a timing perspective to their advantage to come in, I don't know, at 95 million, when 6 months later it would have been the 123 million, and make it look worse. Who knows? I mean, Newcrest are doing what's in the best interest of their shareholders, so we always need to assume they're on the wrong side of us, regardless, because that's just prudent.
That's a fair point, because that's what they would be doing. Yeah, okay. I won't.
I don't buy into any of this underhanded bullshit. You know, if I'm the CEO of Newcrest, do I jump around Havieron at this stage? Of course I fucking don't. Come on. This is not, you don't need to manipulate anything. You just don't need to stand on the parapet and put it on the front and center when you're discussing buying some of it. It's, you know, it's very, very logical.
Okay, a couple of questions from the floor. I'm gonna get you going here. Are you a paid deramper or a shorter, Stu?
A paid deramper, or sure we are going to get me going. I'm a realist with 7.5 years. Likes to recant his experience.
Listen, we need to end this, because it's been going for a while now. On a sweet positive, on a sweet happy high end note. So I just want to go back to those results, and I've lost them, and just talk about the fact that tonight, or this morning, depending on where you are in the world, we're looking at 35 meters at 2.3 grams per ton, 173.2 meters at 1.9 grams per ton, 22.7 meters at 1.2 grams per ton, and a 41.6 at 0.82. 52.7 at 7.1.
Yeah, as in new results from last GDP release.
And these are the ones from today.
Yeah.
Unless I've picked up the wrong document. I don't think I have. And 136 meters at 0.72. It's results were received for zip. Oh, blah blah. How comes I missed that earlier?
We did miss Zipper. I've heard we missed, but we didn't read the portion of the report. Did we?
Drilling to test geophysical targets outside. Well, it's boring anyway, and it's depressing, so I'm not going to. No significant results were reported. They both holes intersected diorite and lithologies in metasediment, something Jamie talks a lot about. A rock type considered significant to mineralization at Havieron.
So maybe they found the edge.
They've found something, haven't they?
I mean, it's far away, isn't it? If that's the edge, I'll be very happy. Come in a bit.
Very much so. Right, my voice is completely dried out now. I ran out of tea about 45 minutes ago. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, at midnight, it's time that we wrap this up and send you all off to your sleepy places so you can dream about 150 meters at 3.7 grams per ton.
It's absolutely the highlight, guys. It's in the Eastern Breccia. It's not what we used to. It's not the fantastic result we used to. It's the one you were talking about today. Will we find anything at 10 grams right next to this? And we have over
we have
a huge intercept of continuous mineralization, which is unique to Havieron. These other guys get 20 grams here for 1/4 meter and little pockets. This is bulk cave written all over it, and that is the prize here. It is, for me at least, or maybe I'm wrong, but the bulk cave in the next 3 to 5 years in that PFS, that's when we're in the 45s, the 55s, and so on, in my opinion. It's great results, again, as always.
Yes, sorry, producer's just saying he's done. He is tapping out for the evening. So, producer, thank you very much for being around. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all for being with us today. I am going to plug my new show coming out later on next week, maybe something on Friday, for a pilot show called The Daily Tea Break. And it'll be live at 3 o'clock every day on YouTube. And we're just going to find people to interview. We're going to talk nonsense. We'll sit down and have a cuppa and just break up the day, especially for those that, like me, working from home all the time. So yeah, there's a new show, Daily Tea Break.
I'll be there. Mate. That sounds great.
Maybe we can interview Sober Stew and see what Sober Stew thinks of the results.
No more boring, I can tell you that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you very much for tuning in to GGP Help TV. And Stu, it's wonderful to have you on as always. Do you have it?
Apprehensive about being on, but it seems we filled the time.
Do you have any final words for our wonderful listeners this evening and viewers? This is not a podcast.
Fantastic results again, and I know I say a lot, and you can pick individual sentences out of what I say and interpret them in different ways. But I'm a lifelong investor in this share. This deposit keeps giving. The results keep getting better. And if you've been here for any amount of time, realize that we have an edge with this community. We have an edge. We will find out the information first. We will find a way of getting it to you. And if you can wait and the asset's not disappearing and you believe in the gold macro,
it's growing. The asset is growing.
This is where you need to be, and just stick with it. It is a 5 to 8 to 10 year to lifelong investment, but that's how the big boys operate. They didn't just get rich overnight. They used the power of compound interest, or they used the power of finding an asset like this that became a 40, 50 year commodity in the tier 1 jurisdiction. I mean, it doesn't get better. Stick with it.
It doesn't.
Stick with us.
It doesn't. I'm going to finish with, in the Eastern Breccia, new results from Had 145 Wedge 1 returned 150 metres at 3.7 grams per tonne gold from 1827 metres, including 42 metres at 8.6 grams per tonne from 1854. The intercept is approximately 100 metres to the northwest of Had 104. And this intercept confirms the potential, ladies and gentlemen, for a northwest trending Eastern Breccia corridor to host Crescent-style high-grade mineralisation. And on that bombshell, I bid you good night.
Goddamn high-grade zone.